today we thought we would talk about what's new in 3.18 because we just had an LCS release a month or so ago, and hey, there's some new great stuff. This is what's new. New colors. So we've been refreshing some of the mission portals, web interface, and UI design. So we've got some tweaks to the color scheme and dark mode. I know these edges are a little bit bright, but that will tame down over time, I think. But I think it's nice and pretty. So what should we take a look at here? About some reporting. So this wasn't new in 3.18, but in 3.16 or 17, we introduced, in Enterprise, we introduced compliance reports, which allow you to roll up individual checks. So if you have a condition that you're looking for in your infrastructure, maybe where you've, let's see here. Let's go look at a dashboard real quick. Switch over. All right, so here, like some alerts here for some legal notices, conditions on the infrastructure. 1, 2, and of course I don't have the other one I was looking for. But we drill in, we can see here that it's looking for a banner. This one's looking for a banner in SDissue.net. So if you've built a check that you've used on a dashboard before, you can reuse that check and then add it here to compliance. So we can see we've got different categories and then different severity levels for each check. Supported Debian, 0%. So I've got one Debian host and it is not compliant. Let's see here. This check is for, oops, let me go back to that. 6, 7, or 8, that's kind of outdated, so we can maybe fix our check. Let's edit this report. Supported Debian. Oh, we need to be, this report is owned by admin. Compliance. Get that out of the way. Compliance. Here we go. All right, so I can edit this Debian check. Let's make this for 10. Nine or 10.
You put 9 down in the regex too, yeah?
Did I?
No, you missed the 9 in the regex, yeah. Cool.
Indeed, I did.
Cool.
Nice little validating the regex there. I don't know if you saw that. Look at that. So pretty. Okay, save that. All right, and then if I get this out of the way, bring back my other one, not that one, this one. Now, hey, now I'm compliant on my Debian machines. Oh, I'll just move the goalpost if it's not right. Okay. All right, so you can categorize these and you get these nice roll-ups at the top. Compliance overall, by severity, by different category. You can take these and put them in different categories if you want. If you've got different organization you want, of course, I still can't edit this. Hey, I'm not logged in as admin right here. But they can be shared with different users and roles and things like that. So let's look at this other compliance report example that we have here. Go here. So I've got this security one. This one is being fed by a policy that takes care of running Linus. So Linus is an open source hardening tool written by Michael Boland, the original author of Rootkit Hunter. So we've got policy that's running Linus, and then Linus produces a report, and we've got policy that parses that bespoke reporting DAT format and inventories back the list of things that find it. We can see here that this band 7130 is looking for this band 7130 to exist. Take a look at this. This for, why is this failing? Oops, I think I went too far. 7126. This one's 5 out of 6. So one of my hosts is not passing on this one. Oops. And this one is for SE issue not containing enough legalese to satisfy their check. So it's going through there looking for some legal words. So if we look at this report, everybody's passing except for this one host. These are all the list of other Linus findings that were found by the scan on this one. So one of the other things we can do here, new feature in 3.18, Mission Portal is now shipping with a small CMDB. And we can see here that there's this variable that's being defined just for this one host for SE issue body. And then it's log in without authorization. I shall not. Let's see here. So if I bring this over, and we can see that is SE issue on this host. So let me shrink this a bit out of the way. And let's edit this. I know that in my policy here, I've got a different variable that I can target. So I'll change this to footer, this extra text that we've got here. And then I'm going to use this other new feature up here. I can trigger an agent run. So this uses CFEngine, like you might be familiar with in the background. So this takes a couple of runs typically to complete the cycle because it typically has to generate that data and then distribute in a different run. We can see here after I click the button that on the right, it pretty quickly changed that content for us. And now it's doing report collection to pull that information back. If I come down here, look, SE issue, the inventory for this is still being reported with the last content. So another agent run should fix up that inventory. Go ahead and trigger that just for good measure. Once the report collection comes back, we should see that this flips to the full content. Let's see if this works. Oh, not quite. I guess I didn't have all the proper offerings for the demo guide this morning.
I've seen it work many times.
Oh, I know. That was fun. So if I come back over here, and then we've got our compliance report. Let me get this out of the way. Our compliance report. We were looking at this band 7126. Let's refresh this report. Oh, it hasn't come back from the line of scan as being clear yet. Still says it's got a finding. Okay, let's go run that again.
What's that other button to the right of the triangle? The one with the little recycle icon.
This one?
Yeah, the
Yes,
one in
the
the middle.
recycle icon is for report collection. So if you've got policy that's running less frequently, it gets triggered automatically when you do an agent run, so that it'll pull back some fresh data.
Right.
But if you've got maybe you're not running on the default 5-minute schedule for execution. Maybe you're running once an hour, something like that. You can go ahead and just request a fresh report collection.
Yep.
Depending on your settings. Hey, now our inventory looks right. And if we come back over here, 7126. All right, let's refresh this report.
But that amount of time is so much less than kind of like our old expectation of like 5 to 15.
Yeah, it's a whole lot easier to kind of turn those wheels and make the things happen a little bit quicker. At scale, 5 minutes is nothing, and it's got a few thousand hosts. Things start flipping right away. But in a small environment, this makes it a whole lot easier to see what's going on and test things and override some things from maybe whatever the default is. So, what do you think? Export this as PDF. Lovely report that you can just hand off to your manager. Hopefully your report is much more green than mine. So what do you think, Craig? Anybody else?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's awesome.
All right. Well, we still have more time. So for anybody who out there who might not be running Enterprise yet, you might be wondering how this stuff works. This does build on top of a couple other kind of low-level core features. Hopefully you're already familiar with augments or def.json. In 3.18, we introduced another data file that can precede variables and classes in an agent run. It actually happens in this process before def.json, and any of the variables that you set in there are sticky. So def.json itself, regular augments, can't override them if you set them in this host-specific .json file. So in community, if you create a host-specific .json file, you put it in var CFEngine data, you know that that's outside the path of your policy set, and that's so that you can fetch this file from some other system. In Enterprise's case, it's fetching it from the Enterprise Hub, but you could fetch this from any other system that generates a JSON file for you. You can take a look at that. So this is, you're gonna behave nicely. So this is a format which might look familiar to you. So you still have classes key. There's this new variables key, but you'll see that the structure that's supported is a lot more complex. So the variables key, you can define and target not only an individual variable. So augments, you can target an individual variable in the depth bundle scope of the default namespace only with the vars key and regular augments. With the new extensions in 3.18, you can actually target an explicit namespace in bundle scope. So this allows you to really avoid stepping on something else that somebody else might be doing, share policy with somebody else, let them pull it in more easily. It's very nice. And you've got the ability to define tags that'll get set on those variables that get defined, as well as, I don't know why that's in here twice. Maybe it's my rendering, as well as define the comment. So the comment, if you specify it here internally in CFEngine, that comment will get applied just like a comment would be applied to a vars promise. So it'll follow it through the logs in the system, which is kind of neat. Let's see here. I think that's kind of yeah, I mean, that's the magic there that happens. You could generate this from some other system. Any thoughts?
Cool.
Question? No.
Bueller?
Yeah, man, what a great demo. No question.
That's good. Yeah.
All right. I didn't have anything else I wanted to show off. Is there something else I should show off, Craig? We've still got some time.
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is the custom promises.
Oh man, custom promises.
That's
I'm not
pretty
wired
cool.
up to do any of that right away.
That's okay. You could just go to like a
Maybe.
blog or something like that. But yeah, we added custom promises. So this allows you to create your own promise types and then write policy that uses those. So like, for example, one of the ones that we've worked on is Git. So you can just do like, instead of vars : or files : you do Git : in your policy. And then you can have some attributes that maybe specify like a repo URL, maybe some other attributes that specify, you know, if you want to rebase or whatever else. Yeah, so Nick is looking at, yeah, so right there, yeah. So like Git : that's just the Git is the promise type, and then : is just our, you know, thing that we have after the block starting of a block of promises of that type.
Yeah, so this promise type here, this Git one is written in Python, uses our Python library that we provide.
Right, we've got
yeah,
we've got a Python library that makes it easier to interface with the core. It's a kind of like a you know, an API, like an interface between the core and the modules.
Yeah, so now that we can actually extend the language, so before you could always do some stuff in modules and return variables, define classes in the agent, but now you can actually extend the language. So you can have your custom logic backing some promise type, and then you can use all the other features of the language, classes, and things like that for actually leveraging it, which I think is going to be really nice. And then you may have seen me clicking through it, but closely related to that, now that you can extend the language more easily, we're back to work on tooling to make it easier to share the things that you're doing with CFEngine. So we've got this CSBS kind of on the horizon, where we're looking to make some tooling to help you manage your policy sets. So stitch them together from upstream master files and maybe a collection of various other people's policies for little things. So you might want to check this out on GitHub, CFEngine/CFBS. It's got some example usage. You can see here, creating a new policy set, adding master files, so stock upstream, adding the Git promise type, building and stitching those things together, and then generating your master files, which are ready to be checked into your version control system or however else you're following that policy. The nice thing about this, though, is this will make it really easy to upgrade your policy set in the future. So you can just target a different release of master files and, you know, continuing to help you not have to make modifications to those upstream policy sets. And then when you do need to make modifications to somebody else's policy sets, good ways of helping you keep track of those modifications and how they differ from your original sources.
Yep.
I don't know. So I don't know, for anybody that's on the call who has audio working, which one of these things is most interesting to you, I suppose?
I like both of them, actually. And I had forgotten about the custom promise types because I think that came up. That came up before on one of the other webinars, and I had forgotten to check it out. But yeah, that's got some promise for sure. No pun intended.
Let me see here. I think if we go to
just curious, where did that come from? Was that a customer request, or was that like an internal hackathon? Because I think you guys still do stuff like that, right? Just curious where that that came from.
The custom promise types.
Yeah,
custom promise types have been highly desired feature, I think, for a lot of us for a long time. So it's been kicked around internally. We've looked at it several times, and then it was just kind of it was time to finish doing it, actually implement it. So there's been the module protocol, I think, which kind of probably the first extension into CFEngine long ago to be able to interact with external things. And then augments, I guess before even augments, maybe augments, and then so def.json, and then package modules, which communicated with the agent over a protocol. Mm-hmm. And so it kind of built on the things that we learned from there to finally get all the way to custom promise types. So hopefully in the future, we'll also see stuff like custom functions. So you can really extend kind of every aspect of CFEngine, which is going to be great. Super looking forward to it. I don't think that we have had people request it over time, but there wasn't a specific driver other than we really wanted to do this because we wanted to enable some other things, especially with the policy sharing kind of stuff, and it just seemed like a good time to get that done.
Okay.
Yeah, we were also looking at groups, right? A groups promise.
Yeah. So there's an experimental implementation here for groups promise types. Longtime CFEngine users probably familiar with the fact that you've got a users type promise, but we never implemented a groups type promise in core yet. So we thought that this was a really good opportunity to spec out the promise type, do it in a custom promise type. This one's written, I think it's backed with Python.
I think so, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So groups experimental. So you can specify, your list of members. You can specify how those members should be treated as part of the group. And I think that this flexibility is super great because I've seen so many times where, in different organizations, that one person should or shouldn't be part of a group, or is probably the most common case. Unfortunately, in my experience, I've seen way too many times. It's very difficult for an organization maybe to understand all of the members, like the complete set, all of the members who definitely should be in the group and nobody else. So this ability to kind of make sure that these people are and these people aren't and kind of leave out in the middle others is, I think, some really nice flexibility. Yes, on custom promise types, we should also mention, so we've got a Python library and a Bash library. So fun stuff.
Yeah, it's just running a program. So, you pretty much write any language you want to. It's just that we made it quite a bit easier for Python and Bash.
Apparently, while I was sleeping, there's a GPG key custom promise type that happened. And this must have happened when I was away. 3 months ago. I missed that one. How did I miss that?
I did that one. Oh. I did that one.
All right. Somehow I missed this. I guess I have some homework to do. Awesome.
Yeah. Cool.
Any other stuff? Well, it looks like we're coming up on the time already. Already been half an hour. Awesome.
All right, just
Well-
one last thing on my side. I guess a shameless plug again for feedback and ideas that we can use for future versions of the Agent is In. We have a thread over on GitHub discussions, and I can post a link here in the chat for anybody who's interested. So if you don't have any ideas now, but you might come up with something in the next few days, few weeks, feel free to go and share them there, and we'll try to incorporate them into these sessions. We want to make sure it's valuable for everybody. We've got a lot of ideas though. So yeah, that's all I've got.
Yeah. Thanks everybody
Great.
for coming and hanging out. Appreciate it.
Yep. It's
Yeah,
great to see everybody
appreciate it.
again.
All right.
Nice
thanks,
talking to you guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Take care.